People travel from around the world to come to Hammers because it is a happening. It is a gathering.
Look at it. It's amazing. It's a wide open desert. You can drive 40 miles in every direction. There's nothing better than cruising through the desert at speed, getting up in big rocks, doing crazy things, and this place brings it all.
Crazy. I mean, people are just going like this. No one cares where you're at or what, you know, and people will run your ass over.
High performance desert race.
And some of the hardest rock trails in the world.
13 different canyons.
When you get this thing where I can put all four wheels and tires on it, all I want to do is pick it up and set it on the floor for a second.
This is too freaking cool. We got a whole group of people here ganging up on Jason's RZR. He's going to race King of the Hammers within 2 weeks. We got a time lapse going up top. We got a whole bunch of parts going to it. We're getting tech tips left and right. So let's go check in with them and see how it's going, man. This is awesome.
Wheels, though, we're finishing up some TIG welding on the trailing arms. Sam's working on figuring out plumbing for the radiator system. Bud's getting our suspension set down to about where ride height is so we can dial in caster camber, and I think Hunter just got done putting a clutch cover back on, and so now I'm running around trying to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, she's got a little down travel on her, buddy. Jesus.
It don't go quite that far, but it goes pretty damn close.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty close to ride height, so we can set caster camber and all that without all the shocks and everything in it, so we're not fighting room. So we're just gonna use these little ratchet straps to act like it's sitting on the ground at ride height, so we actually have an idea where everything needs to be, but we don't have to fight room when we're doing adjustments because there's not actual shocks in the way. So that's roughly where it should be at ride height, give or take.
Damn, that is almost like perfectly.
Yeah, but that was pretty nice right there.
Yeah, it's like no camber at all.
Was that 89 like 2?
89 and 8 or something. That's definitely close enough, I think, to get it to where we get out there and start suspension tuning and figuring out what we want to do with it. When you put the 37s on it and it actually sets down, we'll see what it's really doing.
Yeah,
but
a lot of up travel.
a lot of all the travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't act like they were going that long.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out the coolant system. So, you know, the RZR from factory is front mounted radiator. Obviously we haven't mounted that. So now we just got to change up the plumbing, trying to reuse as much of the original hose and piping as we can, and just get it all figured out and to where it runs right. And I'm just mocking it. I'm not trying to cut anything just yet, just trying to mock up the routing, and then once all that's figured out, I can go and I can cut hoses down shorter and make it a lot cleaner. Hey Jason, some of this old hard line from these coolers, that'll fit right in there. We just need a bit of hose that'll run from there.
Oh, if that'll do
to
the
there.
jam, then we can do that.
have
Honestly, I might have a pipe to AN adapter. If we went to hardline right there, we could just flare that and run it into a -6 or a -8 line.
Yeah.
There's a GPS antenna. It's a white puck low ramp. It goes up there in that mount on the back side of the cage. There's a back camera. It goes on the rear engine mount that's got green tape on the bolt. Like any of that stuff you're getting in, will just be ready to go for wiring. They must have upsized that hose and then
Rock lights.
actually went back and looked.
That way he looks cool at night and he can see, but mainly for looking cool. If you look, it comes out of this top corner, and the top corner of this bracket's got a hole in it. So I would say Jason did that intentionally because he's a smart guy. To see, look how well that just went in there. So.
You happy with the way it's coming along? Yeah, I'm burning everything in pretty hot to make sure nothing comes apart during this race. Not really chasing rainbows, just chasing that penetration.
Grip tape on everything?
Yeah, I cut the factory brake pedal off and made a new one that was wider and had a little more offset in it, so my foot didn't get hung in the gas and the brake at the same time. And now I just want to make sure it's got good traction to it, so my foot don't slide off. There's been a lot of solo effort all the way through, a lot of nights and weekends, and Adam's helped me out with CAD and machining, and Devin machined a few parts for me, and Will's been doing a bunch of TIG welding, but now we're down to the wire. Like you can see, I got a bunch of my buddies in here helping out, guys that work here in the shop, and tomorrow we got a couple more different people that are coming in and coming back. And pretty great to have good friends that'll come in and help you get to the finish line. I'm getting it to the start line.
The finish line's on you, buddy.
Yeah, I swear I'm looking forward to running this course Dave's got laid out this year.
You're coming in and up Aftershock over here on the right. You go up off ramp, come down Big Johnson and up through Claw, dropping in Chocolate Thunder. Laser Knot Alley, you go up Winner's Choice, you come down Wrecking Ball, and you go up Jack North, and you come down Jack, and you go up Sledge. You go across Fisher, and then when you get here, you're going to turn right and just drive off the backside of the mountain. This is Sunbonnet, so these are what some of the big rocks are in the course, but then these are like the extra building blocks for Sunbonnet. Up Check Me Out, come back down to Highway 1920, come down Outer Limits, go up Spooners, come down Resolution, come down Backdoor.
I think it's awesome that there's a bunch of rocks. It's not so much desert like it was 2 years ago. It was like
a lot of
100
desert.
and something mile desert loop.
And I like that it's got a good mix of desert. I mean, it's fun to get out there and run it because we don't get to run that kind of stuff here ever because we don't have any desert in Tennessee, but we got trees, and trees are way cooler than sand.
Yeah.
But the rock course he put together this year actually looks like it's going to be harder and more fun. So,
Where do y'all qualify?
dude, the qualifying course this year is brutal.
What is it?
You come out of start-finish line, go up through the Bronco Arch backwards, like you're headed towards Backdoor.
Uphill.
Then bang a left up that spot that they went down a couple years back. Up and over, you drop two big ledges, then go by the spot where they did the rock bouncer competition that Lauren jumped off during qualifying.
Yeah.
Go up and around that, up Short Bus, take a right at the top, over top of the peak where there's a huge peak rock up there. You'll be able to see it from Hammertown. I think the motorcycle's qualified up there, and then it's got this wicked off-camber side hill deal. You got to run around, go through a pinch rock, and down through a section that I don't think anybody's ever really ran on. So,
Really?
I'm hoping with my later qualifying time, by the time I get to qualify, that side hill is going to be burned in and rutted enough where I can carry decent speed through there. Because I remember it being pretty damn steep off that
First
side.
car's going to have to tiptoe.
Yeah. I think qualifying will get faster as the day progresses in the 4900.
Did you put the pedals so close because you had to, or because this is how you like to drive?
I drive two-footed, so it was kind of twofold. But the pedals are actually set at different heights, and then I put a dead footrest in here for my brake foot. But the floor pan is actually designed with a boat side in it, so your foot naturally is not going to want to ride over in this area anyway, because it would be sitting on a slope. But my heel rests perfectly right here and can check up from the dead foot to the brake pedal. And then my gas foot actually rides against another panel that's right here, so my feet will stay located when I'm bouncing through the desert. My feet are actually set exactly where I need them to be able to just do the job that they're doing.
And this is just like a comfort deal, or what am I missing there?
Well, no, it's one thing you can help brace yourself in the car. Like when you're beating, you can actually push your weight against that and brace yourself. And my knee's still bent. A couple years back, there was a real bad incident with the Trail Gear car where they hit a G out and bottomed out, and their legs were straight, and I think both of them ended up breaking their legs in the deal. You want your knees to be bent whenever you're taking a big impact, so this still has a knee bend, but the other thing about it is it keeps you from just riding the brake. You don't want to be driving with your foot on the brake pedal. Even if it's light pressure, you're still applying pressure to the caliper, so you're dragging the pads and slowing yourself down, putting heat in the brake. This just helps me keep my foot completely off of the brake pedal.
Anything other than meat and cheese on a pizza is wrong.
I agree. I don't want any vegetation on there. I damn sure don't need pineapples and fish.
I don't eat my food spoon.
Stand up when you leave it. Pineapple goes on pizza.
You're wrong.
Not.
You also drive a Ford, so you can't be trusted.
You know, all the way back underneath the deal and have it look the way I like to look. I always have to drive back into it.
Just smash your flat.
Yeah, a little bit of heat sink.
So Jason was just saying to make clearance for the intrusion bars and the way he mounts this light bar, he actually clearances the light bar itself. That's pretty cool. Those are those things you just can't realize unless you're seeing the car being built. So Sam, you got the plumbing done?
We still got to put all hose clamps on it for now, but yeah, everything's ran. Should all work. Used all the factory hard pipe and hose that was already on there, just cut it to what we needed. Bent some of the hard line a little bit differently, but yeah, got a whole cooling system now. Like I said, we're just waiting. Got to get some hose clamps to finish it up, but it's all ready to go.
Cool. Are you working on the clamps now, or are you kind of doing something else?
We'll have to get them tomorrow when the parts store's open.
10-4.
Now starting to get the rear suspension in, wheels wrapping up on the other trailing arm, and start getting shocks mounted and get this thing where we can roll it around. Sarah's wrapping the interior pieces and whatnot with a vinyl wrap. Yeah. Well,
that face said it all.
Yeah.
That was the we're getting it done face.
You been back in here for 20 seconds to turn the fucking radio off.
Yeah. If you want to sponsor me, that'd be fine. I'll take those.
Get in your home. You want to go in your home. They're in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Keep it in check too. Yeah. I don't want to unplunge the CV. Just gotta make sure the CV doesn't get unplunged. Like it'll yank on it. Yeah, iBox set us up with their 3-way adjustable sway bar, so it's actually got 3 positions to adjust firmness. We're actually going to run the factory links back down to them. Maybe a Heim joint setup. I got to look at it now that we've got everything actually where it's going to be and stay. Rides on a billet mount, good pushings, and it's actually greasable via the circuit fitting. So we'll put some of that good RCV moly grease in there that I like to run and everything, and should be good to go.
And you just don't run into it straight down.
Yeah. And then it clears it up. It's
you know. Okay, no, if you know, you know.
The 2-81 are no bullshit.
Oh, that's fine. Well, if you know it, I can go nowhere. I mean, this is not this walk that you're gonna get. So I'll be here all day long.
And that's the dash 6 will do the same thing.
The dash,
we don't have.
I mean, that number 6 is fine. We
if the 6 is fine, then we're good.
And I'd rather not do that hard 90. I'd rather have the high flow, but I don't think you're gonna be able to. I mean, it's dash 8 on the race. I mean,
I know.
You shouldn't run into any kind of trouble there.
Should have been another male, female.
Just open it up a bit so taking shocks on and off is easier.
Yeah, them bolts didn't want to line up either, so.
Oh, don't do that, bud. I broke a bit, probably.
Yep. Yeah, you're in now. Now just spin it now. Yeah. Oh, Milwaukee ain't got nothing, no bud. He's like just sitting there just holding it like a rock, son.
Don't worry, bud. I managed to break a 1/4-inch drill bit on a fiberglass seat.
Yeah, like how you.
Now is about the time too, like where the drive shafts can get put in.
Actually, I would like to have that in there just so I know what I'm working
Exactly.
on.
Yes. But we got to get now the wiring harness that's down underneath, hanging out, has to get threaded over that too, so it can get routed too. And then the drive shaft runs right down the tunnel. The carrier bearing mounts back there, and the back drive shaft clamps in. It all got to kind of goes together. One's out, the other one's in front of the table.
I bet they got to go like this. Hey, Jason. This right here makes sense to me to go.
It
like
should be almost running straight. I think you got it right.
All right, cool. Once like every single thing I could put on, like where's the bolt for this? You go, I don't know.
Buzz.
Sir. What?
They were in that. I had both of them in there when I mocked it up. I took them out, put them back in there.
I'm so happy it happens here and not just at home too.
Babe, you're talking shit on me.
Did the bolt elf just come out here and take them back to his house, or you think he knows where they're at? I said, hell no.
No, they were back in there underneath there the other day. I think I did.
took them out of that and put them in this? That's what
I did that.
Yeah, who did? Now he finds out. Who just took them out of over there and put them in the box? Yeah,
They were in that when I took them out, but I actually had them out the other day.
I'm sure they were whenever you unscrewed them from here.
Yeah, I put them in the box with all the other bolts of the car.
If you ask Jason where bolts are, you get one of three answers. It's either box, shelf. Yeah. That's it.
There's a fourth answer. Sometimes it's like, I don't care, figure it out.
Yeah. Just find something. Just find something to stick it together.
All right, Jason. Now are you getting excited?
Now we can go a little excited.
I mean, the stock's the bottom.
Yeah, we just got a little bit to go.
Who's got a tamer? Up here, you're hitting on the shock mount.
Now that it's squished the rubber bumper a little bit. And that's the spot where Chad's saying I got to clearance it a little bit for the ride flow too.
Facing off through here, the shaft is just in there.
Real damn close to it, ain't it? Yeah, she's fine.
Man, to me, it's like if you put more caster in it, it would help this thing the whole way around. That 2 degrees.
That's what I'm thinking too.
No, leaning her back. That pushes the axle away from it. Puts
That's what I'm
caster in
saying.
it.
Leaning it back was what it needs. But that's going to put the shock into that more.
No, the shaft is into that.
Oh, the shaft will move. The shock ain't going to move. Yes. So it would roll back. Everything's telling me I want to put like 5 in it anyway.
Yeah.
5 on 37 works for everything else. I don't know why it wouldn't work for a side-by-side.
I would at least want 5.
Measure that front bulkhead. You wanted it to be like, what, 6?
Yeah.
It looks pretty
I
good.
think we're
With skid plates, you're 6 5/8 at center.
center.
At center.
That's money, dude.
Yeah. You're
I
setting
mean,
up
that
now.
when you G it out, like you're not gonna, you shouldn't belly. I mean, if you G it out in a rut,
Oh, that's
it's gonna plow. But I mean, you're gonna have that either way about it.
dude, head clean, like where your head is in here. Seeing that tire is gonna be pretty dang cool.
The visibility is freaking crazy.
It's wild.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, when you're sitting in it, even with a helmet on, the visibility is nuts. That's off.
20 3/8. It's 27 3/8.
27 3/8.
Yeah, so that's 20 3/8.
Yeah, 20 3/8 of travel. Dude, 20 3/8 inches of travel straight up down in the middle of it. I think the rear still got way to go, but like, that's massive.
I think we were doing really, really well. A bunch of really good people came and helped out tonight and helped move the progress along on this thing really, really quick. We're not too far off from how Sam's already started on plumbing. We got most of the componentry in place. Get wiring kicked off tomorrow and get it all wired up. Really ain't a ton that has to get done, but just moving along. Now it's an internet race car. Because it doesn't actually run, move, or drive, but it has a light bar and window nets ready to race it.
It's a Bluetooth race car.
Bluetooth race car. All the guys that were in here helping last night kind of checked out about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Took a little bit of 3-hour nap and got back to it. Had a little bit of finish welding that needed done on the car. Knocked that out first thing this morning. Started chopping the factory wiring harness and running all the wiring harnesses for all the race related things that needed to happen. Buttoned up a couple other details, measured on some stuff. Sam was in here earlier working on getting the plumbing systems laid out. Figured out we need a couple things from Napa, hose clamps and things like that we're going to pick up tomorrow in the morning. And now I am just trying to make all the factory things that the plugs are too long and too short work. And then what we're going to do on the next one of these we build, when we build a test deal, is I'm going to figure all this out with plugs to make all this plug and play for an end customer. So where you don't have to actually go home and figure all this nonsense out, because it's a lot. Unfortunately, the factory harness does not just fit in these things anymore. Some of the wires are way too long, some of the wires are way too short. It's all extending and shortening. The big one that I don't really... I'm not going to say it has to get figured out. I know what I'm going to do with it. Is the brake lights and everything in these are ground tripped. So it has a hot wire running to the brake light all the time. And when you press the brake over on that brake master cylinder right there, there's a switch. And it engages that switch and allows ground circuit to go through it. But my chase bar that I'm going to be running needs a positive signal. So there's two ways we can deal with it. We could put in a polarity reversing relay and flip it over. But it adds a little complication to it. Instead, we actually sell a inline brake switch that goes in the brake line itself. And I'm going to run that and just run a 12 volt hot through that brake switch up to the chase bar. So the brake pressure will actually trigger the brake light to come on. So I don't have to extend another 5 or 6 wires in the factory harness and just leave them out of it. We have to have working brake lights. We have to have a blinkable strobe and everything else.
And a horn.
And a horn. We got these Hella units off of Amazon. They meet the decibel like loudness that it has to have to pass tech. My wife is supposed to be coming back. She's got a little more vinyl wrapping. She's doing a killer job on it. Like the carbon fiber actually turned out looking really cool.
Well, I'm not a professional by any means, so I I'm sure there's probably better ways to do it, but this is how I'm doing it. What I do is I normally just, you know, measure out a piece. This particular piece has an identical sister or brother, and it was really difficult to wrap because of these bends. So I'm doing this one in a couple different steps. I'm wrapping these edges first, and then I'm gonna do the bottom so that I can just cut a perfect square. Well, not a perfect square, but you get what I'm saying. Perfect 90 degrees. That way you won't see the seams because they'll be in the bends. And just lay that down. And the main trick with it is not to stretch it, because then it will not fit without making creases. And you get bubbles, and the thing with the bubbles is you just kind of work it out whichever way the bubble wants to go. You can't force it. So you just go whichever way the bubble wants to go. Get it flat as much as you can, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple.
And are you using any heat for this? I don't think I've seen you use too much.
No, the only thing I tried a little bit of heat on was wrapping the edges of the toolbox, but it didn't work real well. It makes the vinyl a little bit shinier, and you really have to only do it real quick because it'll obviously melt it really fast. So
Jason, you're still wiring right now?
Still wiring. I said you on me, not him.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I said you go me, not him. Yeah.
Adam, you working on the hard lines for the back of the car?
Yeah, so always whenever we plumb a car, I try to keep as much hard line in a car as I can. Just gives your brakes a lot more solid feel and everything else. So I come in, today is Sunday. I ran in, I asked Jason what could I help with. He said you need a little bit of help doing some hard lines or just plumbing the rear brake lines. The front brake lines actually worked out, and just the factory stuff out of the front, the rear. We're doing this. So I'm running through here, knocking out some dash 3 stuff for him. So when we're running these, I always try to do like even hard line down the trailer arm and just do a little 11-inch brake line. Or 10 or whatever this is. I think it's probably a 10. We got 10s and 14s here. We'll do a little 10-inch line right here at the pivot and then tie it right back into a piece of hard line. As we're doing all this, everything just kind of gets, nothing really gets tightened down or anything until we get it all, everything kind of plumbed. And then we'll come back and just start at one end and plumb all the brake, tighten all the brake fittings.
You just did the soft line to make the 90-degree turn a little easier?
No, I did the soft line because that's a pivot right there.
Makes sense.
So right here's the main pivot of your whole suspension. So that's the reason we've got a soft line there. You're not supposed to do it this way. It's because I'm doing a bigger radius here. I'll probably use my bender.
Nice.
And I like
So when you're running hard line to A and N, there's two parts of the fittings. You've got a tube nut and a tube ferrule. So A and N nut goes on, the ferrule goes on, and then it's a 37-degree flare that you put on there. And it's only a single flare, where like traditional brake lines on a car or whatnot are traditional flares are 45 degrees and you double flare. With an A&N, it's 37 degree on a single flare. To go to our flex line, you've got to use what's called a union. So this is just a number 3 male and a male. And it screws on. And then that's a connection between the hard line and the soft line. We'll tie it in. Close on that. Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This is a flaring tool.
Is it weird to run all soft lines on your vehicle?
Yeah, you get a spongy pedal.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. That hard line, it just gives you a lot better pedal feel.
Let's do it. She's just doing.
Yeah, that's some bitch right there. You know what's awesome? That's a 4 though, ain't it? I think it's a 3. I was gonna say. You know what's really cool? I got 1. Not 2. But I'm gonna tell you, also this one's rubber coated. It's a whole different deal from Frigola, and that's what I'd order to put on. Oh, it is a 3. So why the fitting look big? Because it's just rubber coated deal like the ferrule. It's a rubber coated line instead of this. Like, yeah, I got this Frigola book in the morning and get that. Oh yeah, oh, that's what you need up there. I'm gonna leave this on my desk and I'll get back in the morning.
So I think it's safe to say that this is a race car.
So man, I was aggravating the rap guys. I was like, you guys show up and in a couple of hours you make all these days and weeks and months of planning and preparation and everything else look like something. Because dude, they just went from something to nothing. Like, whoa, boom. And how long were they here? A couple hours? 2 hours maybe. Yeah. But no, man, I love it. The wrap turned out phenomenal. Those guys always they do a great job anytime they're here. Absolutely. So I love this little wind dam. We actually talked kind of in the last video when we did the brawler about how the wrap never had a place to end. We did this for 2 reasons, because I know a lot on the desert cars they're running this with a little break in it to try to keep the wind moving over the car. It keeps all that dead dust from running in the car, but it also gives us a really clean place to stop that wrap. So man, I mean, yeah, that way that hard line of the carbon fiber vinyl on the dash and the pretty wrap on the car doesn't have just a break. It doesn't. And man, like, going over that, the carbon fiber is the best bang for the buck I've ever seen, of just throwing that on there. Like, you ordered that stuff, Sarah knocked it out, put it on, and literally it just made the whole car look so much cleaner inside.
Jason, when are you driving this thing for the first time? Because we are about to head out of here.
I think we're another day and a half out. A couple parts. We're waiting on brake lines to get the brakes split, and I got to put springs on it and shocks and everything else. Get the mock-up shocks back on it. We're trying to go in the trailer. Drive it about 100 yards out of the shop, put it in the trailer, and we're going to California.
All right, now's the time to get excited.
Yeah, we can get excited now.